A very good evening to all of you. Today we are going to do physiology. This physiology is a very important subject as far as NEET PG is concerned. It has a good weightage of 10 to 12 questions, up to 50, 16 questions come from this subject. And the thing is that there is not a lot to learn here, but practice of the basic concepts which will be helpful for you in solving the questions. So let us begin with the first question. Glands are classified depending upon their mode of secretion. Now, this sebaceous gland is an example of which of the following type of glands? The four options are A. Eccrine gland, B. Apocrine gland, C. Holocrine gland, and D. Paragland. Now, what type of gland is that? This sebaceous gland. What do you think is the correct answer here? Well, the correct answer here is holocrine gland. That is correct answer is C. The sebaceous glands are holocrine glands. Now, what are holocrine glands? Holocrine glands are those in which the cell, after filling with secretory product, dies and is expelled along with its contents. Now, what are eccrine glands? Eccrine glands are those in which the secretory product is expelled by exocytosis. Example of eccrine gland is the sweat gland. Sweat gland involved in thermoregulation and receiving cholinergic sympathetic innervation are eccrine glands. Now coming to apocrine glands. Apocrine glands in which the secretory product accumulates in the apical cytoplasm and is expelled out by pinching of the apical plasma membrane. So what happens? Secretory product accumulates in the apical cytoplasm and is expelled out by pinching of apical plasma membrane. Example is mammary gland and apocrine type of sweat gland that are active after puberty and are found in skin of axilla and genital organ. So the correct answer here is holocrine gland. That is C. Now let's move to the next question. Ruffini and organ. Ruffini and organ is associated with sensation of A. Sustained pressure, B. Heat, C. Touch, and D. None of the above. Now, mesonar corpuscles are dendrite, encapsulated in connective tissue and respond to changes in texture and slow vibrations. Now, Merkel cells are expanded dendritic endings and respond to sustained pressure. The Ruffini corpuscles are enlarged dendritic endings with elongated corpuscles and they respond to sustained pressure. So the correct answer here is sustained pressure. Now what about Pacinian corpuscle? Pacinian corpuscle consists of unmyelinated dendritic endings of a sensory nerve fiber, which are 2 meter in diameter encapsulated by concentric lamellae of connective tissue that give the organ of appearance of a cocktail onion. These receptors respond to deep pressure and fast vibration. So the correct answer here is Ruffini end organ is associated with a sensation of sustained pressure. Which of the following statement regarding lower esophageal sphincter is true? A. It has no tonic activity. B. It has a tone which is provided by sympathetic system. C. Relaxes on increasing abdominal pressure. D. Relaxes ahead of peristaltic wave. So the correct answer here is D. Relaxes ahead of peristaltic. What happens during swallowing when the peristaltic waves sweep down the esophagus? The gastroesophageal sphincter relaxes so that the bolus of food can pass into the stomach. The distance of lower esophageal sphincter from upper incisor is 37.5 centimeter. The lower esophageal sphincter is tonically active but relaxes on swallowing. This tonic activity of lower esophageal sphincter between meals prevents the reflux of gastric contents into the esophagus. Its tone is under neural control by parasympathetic nervous system. Contraction of LES is caused by the release of acetylcholine from the vagus and the release of NO, that is nitric oxide, and vasoactive intestinal polypeptide from the interneurons innervated by other vagal fibers causes it to relax. So the correct answer is it relaxes ahead of peristaltic wave, which is D. Depressor reflex. Bejeweled-Jerisch reflex, produced by the following stimulus: A. Atrial overload, B. Myocardial infarction, C. Ventricular distension, D. Isotonic exercise. This depressor reflex, Bejeweled-Jerisch reflex, are produced by following stimulus. Now, ventricular distension can produce a powerful depressor reflex called as Bejeweled-Jerisch reflex. Vagal afferents of this cardiopulmonary reflex are also activated by chemical stimulation. Example: prostanoids, cytokines, serotonin, and classically veratrum alkaloids. The central connections for this reflex are in the nucleus tractus solitary, which has both sympathetic and parasympathetic sinuses. So the correct answer here is C. Ventricular distension. Direct fit method of measuring the cardiac output requires the estimation of A. Oxygen consumption content of arterial blood, B. Oxygen consumption per unit time, C. Arteriovenous oxygen difference, and D. All of them. So this direct fit method and indicator dilution method are used for measuring the cardiac output. The Fick principle states that amount of a substance taken up by an organ or by the whole body per unit of time is equal to arterial level of substance minus the venous level, that is AV difference, times the blood flow. So the Fick principle states that amount of substance taken up by an organ per unit of time is equal to arterial level of substance minus the venous level. So that is AV difference and times the blood flow. Both arterial and mixed venous, which is equal to pulmonary artery blood, must be sampled in this method. This principle can be used to determine the cardiac output by measuring the amount of oxygen consumed by the body in a given period and dividing this value by AV difference across the lungs. So the correct answer here is D, all of them. Primitive red cells first originate in the early embryonic life in the A. Liver, B. Yolk sac, C. Bone marrow, and D. The spleen. Now, what happens during embryogenesis? Hematopoiesis occurs in the extra embryonic yolk sac, the fetal liver, the thymus, and the preterm marrow. The origin of hematopoietic cell is closely tied to gastrulation, that is, formation of mesodermal cells, and to the emergence of endothelial lineage. Hematopoiesis is first established soon after implantation of blastocyst with the appearance of primitive erythroid cells in the blood islands of yolk sac beginning at day 18 of gestation. Primitive red cells derived from yolk sac constitute a distinct transient erythroid lineage that differ from definitive red cells that subsequently mature in the fetal liver and marrow. So the correct answer here is B, yolk sac. The nucleus involved in Pappage circuit is A, pulvinar, B. Intralaminar, C. VPL nucleus, D. Anterior inferior nucleus of thalamus. So the correct answer here is the nucleus involved in Pappage circuit is the anterior nucleus of thalamus, that is D. You can directly WhatsApp me on the number 948-365-2020 for any doubts or any new MCQs you want, any new topic you want, which you want me to explain. I will come with the new videos if you comment in the chat box about the new topics. It will be very beneficial for you, and you please click the link in the description box to join the 2-day Neet PG breakthrough blueprint, which will be very beneficial for you, and it is really a breakthrough class. The first 10 students who click the link in the description box will get the 2-day Neet PG class absolutely free. So let us move to the next question. Broca's area is concerned with A. Word formation, B. Comprehension, C. Repetition, D. Reading. This Broca's area is concerned with word formation. Wernicke's area is the site of integration, and Broca's area is the motor part of speech. Stability of alveoli is maintained by A. Lung compliance, B. Negative intrapleural pressure, C. Increase in alveolar surface by the surfactant, and D. Residual air in the alveoli. So the correct answer here is increase in alveolar surface area by surfactant. Pancreatic juice rich in water and electrolyte, poor in enzyme, is secreted in response to A. pancreaticogymin, B. cholecystokinin, C. secretin, and D. proteins. Well, it is secretin. Small intestinal peristalsis is controlled by A. Myenteric plexus, B. Meissner plexus, C. vagus nerve, D. parasympathetic. Now, this myenteric plexus or Auerbach plexus is situated between and innervates the outer longitudinal and middle circular muscle layer and is primarily concerned with motor control. Submucous, that is Meissner plexus, situated between the middle circular layer and the mucosa, is primarily concerned with control of intestinal secretion as it innervates the glandular epithelium, intestinal endocrine cells, and submucosal fat cells. So the correct answer here is A. Myenteric plexus. So small intestinal peristalsis is controlled by the myenteric plexus. Ovarian reserve is best indicated by LH, B. FSH, C. LH by FSH ratio, and D. estrogen. So the correct answer here is FSH. Ovarian reserve can be best as measured by measuring the FSH level on the third day of menstrual cycle. Clomiphene citrate challenge provocative test measures FSH level on cycle day 10 after anti-estrogen clomiphene citrate 100 milligram administration. Serum inhibin level and ultrasonic scanning to count the number of antral follicles in ovary are other methods. So, what is ovarian reserve? Ovarian reserve is the size of resting or non growing primordial follicle population, which reflects the quantity of growing follicles and quality of oocytes within it. So, ovarian reserve determines the functional reproductive potential of the ovary. Under the influence of FSH and LH, there is rapid growth of several follicles in the ovary during the first few days of each menstrual cycle. So, the correct answer here is FSH. Which of these is not a part of extracellular matrix? Integrins are not a part of extracellular matrix. So correct answer is C. All of the following occur in mitochondria. A. Citric acid cycle, Krebs cycle, B. Glycogenolysis, C. Fatty acid oxidation, D. Electron transport chain, except glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis does not occur in mitochondria. QRS complex is due to A. Ventricular repolarization, B. Atrial depolarization, C. Conduction through AV node, D. Ventricular depolarization. It is ventricular depolarization. Maximum amniotic fluid at A. 32 weeks, B. 34 weeks, C. 36 weeks, and D. 40 weeks. Well, the correct answer is maximum amniotic fluid is seen at 36 weeks. That is C. Aortic wall corresponds to closure of its isovolumetric relaxation. Physiological changes in leukocyte number in pregnancy is, well, it is neutrophilic leukocytosis. The physiological change observed in leukocyte number in pregnancy is neutrophilic leukocytosis. It occurs to the tune of 8,000 per millimeter cube and may be up to 20,000 per millimeter cube in labor. The increase may be due to rise in levels of estrogen and cortisol. So the correct answer here is A, neutrophilic leukocytosis. Coronary blood flow is maximum during which phase of cardiac cycle? It is during the isovolumetric relaxation phase. Shivering is controlled by the posterior hypothalamus. Shivering, shuddering, it is a bodily function response to early hypothermia in warm-blooded animals. When the core body temperature drops, the shivering reflex is triggered to maintain homeostasis. Muscle groups around the vital organ begin to shake in small movements in an attempt to create warmth by expending energy. Shivering can also be a response to a fever, as person may feel cold, though their core temperature is already elevated. It is located in the posterior hypothalamus near the wall of third ventricle in an area called primary motor center for shivering. The area is normally inhibited by signals from the heat center in anterior hypothalamic preoptic area, but is excited by cold signals from the skin and the spinal cord. So the correct answer here is posterior hypothalamus B. Sleep center is located in A. Basal ganglia, B. Medulla, C. Hypothalamus, and D. cerebellum. It is hypothalamus. Aromatase produces estrogen from A. Progesterone, B. Cortisol, C. Aldosterone, D. Androgen. It is progesterone. Weber-Fechner is related to A. Phantom limb, B. Force of contraction, C. Intensity of stimulus and sensation felt. It is intensity of stimulus and sensation felt. Cells are most sensitive to hypoxia are A. Myocardial cells, B. Neurons, C. Hepatocytes, and D. Reticulocytes neurons. Beta 2 transferrin is found in. Now, this beta 2 transferrin is an isoform of transferrin. It is found in the cerebrospinal fluid. It is not found in other body fluids, blood, mucus tear, saliva, urine. Therefore, it is a specific marker of CSF and is used for diagnostic of CSF leaks. So, the correct answer is CSF leak.